Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now I want to talk about the 12th house lords within the houses. Now, the 12th house is an area of life. You have 12 areas of life, which is your, if you was to get up right now and do a full 360, if you was to slice it up like a pie, pretty much to even it out, you got 12 different directions, 12 locations that you can kind of give your own point of reference from, because this location ain't gonna look like this location, even though they may share similar outlooks, because you'll be able to see in this location, you'll be able to see some of the same things that may be in this location based upon peripheral, but looking straight in this location is purely a different location and a different direction than the one that's right next to it. So this is why you have to correlate it and look at it like that. It's the 12 areas of life. Now once you reach the end, before you get back to the first direction where you started from, you're gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? So if the second house is here, if this the first house and the second house is here, you know the 12th house is right here. You know what I'm saying? Because the 11th house is right here. You know, so if this the first house, you know the 7th house is right here. You know what I'm saying? So in your life, this is your areas of life as a spirit. As your spirit circling around, going up and down, looking at what's actually going on, and you come in here as an ascendant. So when we look at the 12th house, you're right here. You know what I'm saying? So you're right next to the first house. You right next to looking at shit from a personal point of view, but then you're also right next to looking at things from a public point of view, a broad point of view. You know what I'm saying? A broad perspective point of view. So once you get, so you're in between both of those perspectives. So in this direction, you're kind of seeing things from a broad point. You're able to connect with a broad perspective from a personal reference. So this is why 12th house or Pisces, because the houses rules the signs. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter what realm of reality or what existence or level of life you in. It's always going to be a house system, and a house system is where the planets and the signs is going to accumulate from. Really, you know, the signs and then the planets and the stars that been there kind of control the lesser stars. Which is like the lesser stars, and the planets can be like the solar system, but which there are stars, but big enough stars and planets to inhabit, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of the lesser star bodies. And you know, but you as a human, you're lesser than all that shit. That's why you see that shit the way they look. I'm just trying to give you understanding of the levels of life. But when we get into the 12th house, it's sitting between these two houses. So it's seeing a broad perspective. It's seeing the collective, because let's break the houses down for in general. Now the 12th house represents your subconscious realm, but why is that? First house represents your personality, personal issues and affairs, all things that's in your personal life. The 11th house represents is the public persona. Well, not the public persona, how you conduct yourself in the public arena. So it's the location of when you're away, or it's the location of when you're around others. So it's like the 3rd and the 7th house on a broader level. So it's dealing with close proximities, neighbors, friends, and it's dealing with relating to people on a one-on-one level, and it's how you take that into the world. So how you relate to strangers, and how you relate to have your own fixated way of dealing with the 3rd house, which is your neighbors and friends, or the 7th house, your relationships, or how you relate to each individual on a one-on-one basis. So the 11th house is conducting all that. So it's family, friends, associates, things you are associated with, how you organize, organizations, and the location of a lot of these places. And it's also dealing with the unfamiliar. It's also dealing with science, astrology, occult, mysticism, and technology, which technology is gadgets, our abilities to be able to communicate socially. So we socially communicating in our area, which is the 3rd house, and then we're communicating on a one-on-one level in our surroundings or wherever we at, which is the 7th house. Then we come up with new ways of how to communicate, which is telephones, telekinesis, telepath, television, you know what I'm saying, technologies, which will be the 11th house, how we can socially communicate on a broader level. So you start to understand the 11th house, understand it better once you understand this is how you conduct yourself in the public arena. So when you hear me say public arena, understand it as you being in the arena where you could be publicly received. You know what I'm saying? And that's from 3rd house references, 7th house references, 11th house references. Now, when you look at the 12th house, this is the subconscious realm. All things that tap you into the subconscious. So it's your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination. So all that develops how a person can connect from a collective way. Because once you go inside, you're able to resonate if someone could feel the same way as you on the inside or not. Once you get into your imagination, you're able to see if people share your same imagination or not. Once you get into your creativity, you're able to see if it's going to be seen as an illusion or it's going to be seen as something others can be seen as something that's good. You know, so it taps you into it taps you into your own personal world of seeing how others going to perceive your own personal world. So others may not like to leave their own personal world if they got a lot of planets in the 12th house, and others may like to express themselves and put their world out if they if they don't really have a lot of planets in the 12th house. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on outside of them that's being consciously seen that they can't hold in, or a lot of influences that they're not trying to gain a hold of, and it's just letting them, and it's coming and going. So you know, the 12th house is in a situation where it's trying to personally understand how it's going to be received from other personalities or other worlds. So you see how it's seeing the 11th house direction, the 12th house direction. Now, I mean the first house direction. Now let's go completely into the 12th house. So this is the subconscious, you know, being consciously aware of other people conscious, which creates connecting with the collective conscious. So understanding. So this is why a lot of times Pisces, not all the time, but the house rules Pisces. A lot of times they share a lot of 12th house influences. But you have a lot of Pisces who their sun may be in the 6th house, or their sun may be in the 3rd house, or their sun may be in the 7th house. 8th house or something like that, or the 10th house, and or of course, so they're constructed a lot of different. Their Pisces nature play out in different ways. But you know, when we talk about the 12th house lords, now the 12th house lord is going to mean whatever sign you have in the 12th house. The planet that rules, the star that rules that sign, whatever house is in, is going to be where you need to take all the frequency, vibrations, and energies of the 12th house and place them in. And the better you know how to do that, the better you're going to be able to receive the keys to the doors of both of these houses. You know what I'm saying? And receive more success than rejection. So let's start off. 12th house lord in the first house. So with the 12th house lord being in the first house, you're going to be experiencing. Now let me break this down too. Whatever you have a house lord, you're going to be experiencing sparks of those energies, but you're not going to be able to put all your time in. Certain people have certain planetary alignments where they put all their time into their house lords, but there's so many things that's out here placed upon us by society and other people that we put more time into that, and we put our stuff on the back burner because it's almost like it doesn't make sense, because we shouldn't physically be doing it because it's something our spirit feels like we should be doing. But what's physically set out here for us, for society, or force us into other shit and put our spiritual time into that. So we find little to no time for our habits and our hobbies and shit like that. And if we dive too far into our habits and hobbies, it's not seen as productive, because in the physical world, you're supposed to do this to apply this. For an example, to get some money, you have to do this. And then you have to take that money to sustain yourself and to get this, aka a house and a car and shit. So that takes your spirit off the mind of what your spirit want to do in this physical form. But what people fail to realize, that the more you dive into your hobbies and get that constructed, that the universe has no choice but to manifest it in your life. So that whatever you manifest in your life will take shape and form regardless of the society patterns, to the point that they're going to have to comply. They're going to have to agree to your terms and conditions. They're going to have to pay you because you might just take over every goddamn thing, or have too many followers to the point that their system may not work anymore. So they would either try to indoctrinate you into their system, into their light, to the point that you become a good puppet, or you end up going to war with the system and either destroy them or they destroy you, or y'all could become a good balance into this realm of reality. But y'all gonna have to suffer and deal with each other, or come to some type of terms and agreement if y'all don't want to destroy each other. That's an actual strong spirit. But for the most part, that's what's actually being placed upon us. Now, but let's get back into this. The 12th house, now the 12th house Lord being in the first house. So the 12th house, you're here to take all your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination and place it into your personality in some way, personal issues and affairs. Now the 12th house is also going to bring doubt, because this things that's coming from the spiritual realm is not taking shape and form. So, you know, people can't fucking spirit. So, see, I'm talking about some real shit right now. That's why it's fucking leaving answer machines and shit. Leaving messages, the fake spirits, fake physical people who try to play fake representations of real spirits and try to be messengers and leave messages, and then they come in forms of computers and shit. Man, fuck these niggas. Now, for the most part, yeah, when we talk about this shit, trying to take me off track. When we talk about the actual spirits and shit, and going in to certain bodies to play out certain shapes and forms, and now the 12th house is your dreams. So you could doubt yourself a lot of times and doubt a lot of your insides. See, got me talking about spirits, and we talk about the 12th house. Now, it can inhabit a lot of doubt. It can give off a lot of doubt. So a lot of times when a person have the 12th house Lord in the first house, they get all the energies with it. So from time to time, you personally feel doubtful for your personal issues, your personal affairs. You may feel doubt for your personal affairs, aka the personal people in your life. So you find yourself overly wanting to help because you may doubt their abilities a lot of times. And you may doubt your own personality, so you may keep your personality on a back burner when you're around other strong personalities. So, you know, with the 12th house Lord in the first house, you have to force that out of you, you know what I'm saying, and filter through that illusion and forcefully take your creativity, imagination, and dreams and forcefully personalize these things, make them part of your personality, personally absorb yourself into the imagination or creation that you or the art and how you see yourself, and play that personally into your life. Now don't get too far into the personal illusions. Into the illusions when it comes to your personal issues, but or personal affairs, but consistent with your personality. And you're going to see doors open up. Because even if you are in an illusion, these illusions be able to take shape and form. And if it's an illusion that you created for the benefit of you, you're going to actually start seeing things take shape and form of things that never took shape and form in your life before because you was doubting. Now, 12th house Lord in the second house. You're here to take your dreams, illusions, creativity, and your imagination, subconscious realm, and apply it to some reality. So the people, places, and things that you value and what you have to offer to the world, whether it's internally or externally. So, you know, it may be, you may doubt certain things that you value. You may doubt what you have to offer to the world. You may doubt certain creative endeavors. You may doubt a lot of your resources. You may have something everybody needs for a supply and demand type of situation. You may doubt this. You may doubt it and never actually receive any gain from the resources. A person could be a resource in your life. The people, places, and things in your life also play as that you value. They have to be in your value part of your brain, but as long as you value them, they're going to play out as your second house. You may even value money. Don't doubt these things. Money talk. You may be the type of person that holds your money but be like, I don't want to bribe nobody or this, that, and the third. Shit. Don't doubt that shit. You rub a few ones and a few people's faces, it gets you from point A to point B. Now, for the most part, you know, a person with the 12th house Lord in the second house, they think money not everything also, or give and receive is not give and receive, but material is not always an issue. So a lot of times they'll try to come and try to relate to someone emotionally all the time, where if you come across a actionary person, this could be bad for a 12th house Lord in the second house, because the second house is an earthly house. So this could be bad because a lot of times you play mysticism and reality. And reality, a lot of times people want hardcore results, concrete results, or shape and form, or what you can do physically, or what can be seen, or what action can be took. And you'll be too busy on trying to be like, oh no, the money will come, don't worry about it, or don't worry about this, it'll happen, or don't worry about that, don't value too much of that. Where a lot of times it's shit that we do need to value, or we won't have nothing in this physical world. So, you know, be careful of not doing that with the 12th house Lord in the second house. But, you know, you're here to forcefully put your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination and dream world in the second house. So start to add some type of dream or creativity or imagination to with the things you have to offer to the world, or the people, places, and things that you may value. But make sure you're not so lost into the illusion. Learn when some have served its purpose and when to let go, because something may not be working. And like I said, the second house is an earth house. Things has to transform once something get too sturdy and too stable and fixated in one spot, or you're going to experience some catastrophic situation in your life based upon a person, place, or thing, situation, or experience that's detriment to you, and it's always going to be on your mind, but it's going to force you to get your ass up out of that house for a little bit. 12th house lord in the 3rd house. Now, you know, you're here to take your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination and add more of your subconscious realm to your surroundings, or the people, places, and things that you are familiar with. And what you're familiar with could be a person, place, or thing, a gift, talent, trait, something you have learned along the way. Now, you know, you may be a person who doubts your gifts, or you may be a person who doubts your friends a lot. Throw a lot of illusion around. You probably goddamn artistic as hell though, very creative in your surroundings. You probably the painter, the artist, the drawer in your realm and things of that nature. But for the most part, you can be wrapped in an illusion and be super passive and let a lot of people walk over you in your surroundings. So you're here to be a little bit more assertive. You know, the way you imagine yourself, you're here to kind of forcefully put that in your surroundings. Don't let that be passive when it's time for that to actually happen. Because see, in your mind, you may see yourself a certain way. But what you're not understanding is you're creating the portals and manifesting the circumstances and situations for the universe and God to see if that's what you're about. And if you show them that's what you're about, then you'll be able to handle more and be able to take on more experiences, more bodies in that situation. And the promised land, or the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, will be at a lot shorter distance. You know, but it's going to be longer once you got certain shit on your mind than once it's presented to you in reality, your ass run from it. AKA, say you may have on your mind to be a certain way, or to whoop someone's ass. You've been wanting to whoop someone's ass, right? Now say you got the 12th house lord in the 3rd house, so you kind of passive it a little bit. But when you go home in your own imagination, right? You like, man, I will whoop this motherfucking ass. I swear, right? Well, with this strong ass 12th house imagination, it's going to make sure it manifests a circumstance or situation in your neighborhood that you end up coming across this person, and this person end up doing just the thing that's going to want you to prove your imagination. Now, if you run from that situation, you're going to create more situations of running. But you have to understand that you created that circumstance. You could have had anything on your mind and imagination when you was at home. You could have been like, man, I just want to be cool with everybody and things of that nature. You will manifest being around end up being cool with that person, or being around a certain social area where you can experience that. See, we have to understand this is what we're doing. But with the 12th house lord in the 3rd house, you like, man, I will whoop this motherfucking ass, this motherfucker. Okay, you manifested that. And the 12th house lord in the 3rd house gonna make sure your ass experienced that. So, you know, this is what I mean by that, with the 12th house lord being in the 3rd house. Just make sure that you're adding your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination to your surroundings. So make sure your imagination and your dreams is what you want it to be. Make sure your dreams is not being controlled by other people. You know what I'm saying? You could want to get into a relationship and want to be in a relationship with someone in your neighborhood, right? That's your dream still being controlled by someone else. It doesn't matter what kind of realm of reality it in. No matter if it's ghetto like me, my examples, or if it's fucking the regular ass shit. You know what I'm saying? It still plays out the same way. It could be a job you want to get in your neighborhood. It could be something you actually want to do in your neighborhood. You could be a person who just an activist or humanitarian who want to get things situated in your neighborhood. If you're lost into that frequency vibration, then the 12th house lord being in the 3rd house, make sure you're not lost into the illusion. Because the illusion of it is, if you're not understanding when something has served its purpose or when it's time to get let go, then you could get lost and be doing something for the rest of your life that you don't need to be doing in your surroundings. Now, but the more you add your dreams, creativity, and imagination in your surroundings, and don't doubt your dreams and creativity in your surroundings and in your neighborhood. It might be somebody in your surroundings that may take what you're familiar with and take that and be able to go from point A to point B. You never know. 12th house lord in the 4th house. Now I got this placement right here, which is the moon. I got a Cancer 12th house, and my moon is in my Scorpio 4th house. Now, for the most part, when we're talking about 12th house lords in the 4th house in general, now you're here to take your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination, but you're here to make it more private. See, you're not the type of person. You may be the type of person that may be enticed early in life as a kid and not being developed, and start to express your dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination amongst everybody, and you start to experience everybody not agreeing with your dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, or people may be saying you're highly creative. You may get that, people thinking you're highly creative, or a lot of times you may get people thinking you're in your own world or you're in your own area of life. You see what I'm saying? So you're kind of here to make this more privately constructed. Now, what is the 4th house? 4th house is privacy, home, family, domestic issue, or how one gain emotional stability amongst themselves or wherever they feel most comfortable at. What should be the heart or external home. Then that's just externally, but it really should be the heart. But a lot of times it could be a friend or relative house. Now, see, when we talk about gaining emotional stability, that's talk about constructing. So, and emotions is within you, something that's not seen unless you choose to express it with your son for other people to be consciously aware of it. Bring light to it. But if you keep it within, it's just attached to your soul, part of you. It's not, it's individualized, it's outlies, it's not being brought out. So when we talk about and the moon rules the 4th house. So when we talk about the 12th house lord being in the 4th house, you're here to do that with your dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, the fantasy realms. You're here to make these things more private, but also construct it. Don't even bring it out unless you know how to construct it. Gain stability around these things, because these things could be chaotic. Your subconscious realm could be chaotic. Your imagination could be chaotic. You could be a person scared of the dark your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Things could be very chaotic. But you're here to gain stability within this realm. In your inner realm, which is your emotional stability, your 4th house, then your subconscious realm, your imagination, all things that's attached to your inner realm. You know, so you're here to gain more construction of these things before they're being presented. Or you could be a private conductor, or a person who know how to construct other people's imaginations and dreams. People who are maybe scattered, or people who want to condense or solidify their imagination and want their spiritual nature to be understood or a little better, things of that nature. You could become a person like that who can help others. But for the most part, 12th house lord in the 4th house, you have to keep these things private, or utilize your subconscious realm to help your domestic issues in some way, or just gain emotional stability, aka gain construction over your dreams, imagination. That's having it in the privacy wrap until you feel comfortable enough where that you have developed enough experience and information to bring it out. And a lot of these people spiritually end up doing that, but they end up experiencing a lot of aloneness, or they have to take their subconscious realm and have it to their self till they develop it. And once they bring it to the world, it's some otherworldly shit, but it's some otherworldly shit that they constructed for it to be understood for all domestic issues and things of that nature. And domestically in the world, that means just affairs, friendly, family, relative affairs. Everybody have affairs. That's domestic issues, period. So yeah, that's right there. 5th house, 12th house lord in the 5th house. You're here to take your dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, mysticism, and supernatural realm and spiritual nature, and apply it to the way you express yourself, or be more entertained by these things, or entertain these things more. Apply it more to your creative mechanism, your creative nature. So for an example, the things that you creatively do in the external realm, apply how you creatively look at things spiritually in the subconscious realm. For an example, you may be at work, right? And you may not want to do certain things how you do it at home, because people may think you weird, so you stay constructed. No, if you got the 12th house lord in the 5th house, add your creativity here. You see what I'm saying? And and in your imagination and things of that nature. And people will look at it like, okay, you may do things in a weird way, but I can dig it. And so your creativity may be weird, but your creativity is expounded, and it can be related to from a collective conscious point of view. So, you know, that's the 12th house lord. Apply that. You may self-doubt the way you express yourself with the 12th house lord being here, or Neptune being here, or even Pisces being here as a sign in general. You may be the type of person who self-doubt the way you express yourself. So you're not as expressive a lot of times, or you have to feel comfortable around others who express themselves in similar ways, and that makes you feel comfortable enough with fully expressing yourself.